Hey, worship leader, welcome back to the channel. I always say that funny sometimes. Hey, worship leader. Anyways, welcome back. We have Caleb Holgerson. How you doing, man?
And doing well. Thanks for having me. It's so good to be back on the Hey Worship Leader channel, hanging with you guys.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you're here. I think you were the first video of the year on my channel. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, we recorded it last year, but it was the first video back. And, you know, we had a lot of good feedback. And I was like, you know what? Caleb needs to come back on the channel because he has a plethora of wisdom. I don't know if that's how you say that. But anyways.
Hey, I'll take it.
Oh, whatever. No.
Man.
But the topic of the day is songwriting. And I know you have some expertise in this area. Today, I wanted to ask you a few questions just to let the listeners, viewers know where we're going. Basically, how we're going to introduce a new song. Like maybe I've gotten a new song, I want to introduce it, but then I don't want them to click off because we're going to get into maybe some real practical like songwriting tips, not just staying up here. We'll get down. So make sure, viewers, you are staying for the whole thing. Like and subscribe, all the good stuff. But I just shared with you off camera that we are getting ready to introduce a new song to our church. I'm already writing another song, and I'm just trying to practice writing songs. We've talked about that before, but how do you know when it's time to introduce a song? Knowing that like something like a piece of art, like a song can never really be finished. I've heard that said, you know, it's never really finished. You just got to do it. But then there's times where it's like, hey, you should have spent a little more time on that. Maybe you can speak to that and then flow in. We'll get into like the process of how you actually introduce a song.
Sure. Yeah, so if I'm going to write a song and introduce it to my church, a lot of times I want to introduce it to a few people before I introduce it to the church. So maybe that's introducing it to my worship team. I've played songs for pastors before. There's a song I did during kind of like a prayer moment a few months ago that I just sent to another worship leader first. And I said, hey, would this be appropriate for that? I texted to him and he called me, I think the next day and said, hey man, yes, that's appropriate for that. Because my concern was that I was going, okay, we've got this prayer moment. Am I making this all about me by introducing my song? And he goes, no. In fact, don't even tell people you wrote it. Just play the song. And, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And so played the song. But yeah, I usually try to introduce it to a few people beforehand to make sure it's going to work. Because sometimes you'll play something in your head, you're going, man, this is awesome. Somebody hears that and they go, yeah, that's great between you and Jesus, but not for the whole church and Jesus.
Yeah, man, that's wise words and got me thinking about, you know, sharing it with other people just to kind of get that collectiveness. And that's kind of a hard step is when you write something, but you're about to share it with the whole church. That's good wisdom. Like share it with the people that matter that can speak into it and really, I think, help craft it. Cause that's kind of what stage we're at now. And like, we have a members meeting coming up. Maybe by the time this video is posted, it'll already have happened. I don't know, but we're, it's less people will be there. It's just the members and we're going to try to, we're going to share. And so I want to ask you that, like, do you always say, hey, this is a song we wrote or a song I wrote for the church? Do you have a team? We've never written one, so we thought maybe it'd be important to say to the members only kind of night that like, hey, we're starting this process of writing at the church. Here's our first one. But yeah, I'm like, I've never done it before, so I don't want to say something like, let me know what you think. I hate it. You know?
Right. Well, the problem with asking people what they think, is they're always going to lie to you and tell you it's great. Unless you just have a really good buddy that's going to go, hey, dude, that's awful.
Yeah.
I would probably, in that context, in a members meeting, say, hey, guys, this is a song that we want to bring forward to the whole church. And so we want to bring it to you first so that you can be praying over it, so that it can get into your spirit before we do a Sunday morning. I think that's a great move. If I'm going to just introduce a song on Sunday morning, I probably won't say that I wrote it. I might give some sort of context for it as far as the scripture that it came from or something like that. But, if I sing a new Phil Wickham song, I don't go, hey, guys, Phil Wickham wrote this, and now we're going to sing it. I just sing the song. I might share the scripture, and I go into it. So, I don't ever feel a need to do that unless it's a song specifically for something that's going on in your church, like you have a big vision piece, or you're a song for a series of sermons or something like that, then I might say, hey guys, as we've been praying over this season that the church is in, the Lord gave us this song, and so we want to share that with you because we believe that, this is a song that's for our collective church body, not just for the band or for me as a songwriter or any one person.
That's super helpful. And I feel like this is maybe just a coaching session between me and you, and people get to watch it. So I'm just going to ask you my questions. Free content right here.
That's right.
So something you said, I don't want to lose it. About, I was thinking what you were saying was smart, because what I don't want to happen, especially in the gathered body, like on a Sunday morning, is to distract from the day. Like we're there to worship God. And I think that's one of the things I was struggling internally, which I think is why a members meeting is maybe a good place to do it. That way on Sunday morning, you don't have to do that. You don't have to pull people's attention away, because now they're just going to be looking at the lyrics, not thinking about Jesus, but thinking, they wrote this? Ooh, or wow, they wrote this. But it then shifts to be about us and not God. And that was that's one of the things I'm so new to. I've never done this before. So that's a good word. So now moving on.
For me, that's another reason why I like to not tell people that, is because the first couple of times that I did it, you're so nervous about it. You want it to come across well. You don't want to add something else in to say, hey, we did this. Now judge me, because that's what you're doing. I mean, And so I will try to do that with a few people,
right?
Or even if I introduce it on Sunday morning, go to like my church. The way we're structured, we have, our pastoral team and then a leadership team, which would be similar to elders or a board. And so I might go to a handful of people on the leadership team and say, hey, we wrote this song, and so can you give me your feedback, your actual feedback afterwards? And I know the people on that team that will give me the straight answer if, hey, man, that was really great, or you know what, this part was good, but this other part, it didn't really resonate with me, or it didn't make sense to me. And then I know where to adjust for if we want to do that song again later on.
Well, so moving on then to when we are trying to get folks at the church familiar with new songs that we do, not necessarily anything we've written, I made a new songs playlist that on Spotify, and it just plays as people walk in. I put songs on there. Sometimes they live on there for a year, and these are songs that we might do. And sometimes, we'll shift from the new songs to, hey, we're singing this. And most people are like, I'll say in the service, like, hey, this is a new song this month. And then we sing it. They're like, that's new. We know that. Well, it's because the Spotify playlist, they've already been subliminally, it's in their head already. So do you do anything? Because I'll just say, like, we don't have a recording studio. We're not necessarily trying to record this song professionally. We may record some scratch demos just to get it to the band to play. But how do you go about teaching a song? Do you record sometimes we'll do like a monthly video that'll go in the bulletin. And sometimes we've done like the new song that month, Phil Wickham's anthem or something like that, where I'm like, hey, hey church, this is a song we're going to do this month. Let me play it for you now. Be familiarizing yourself so you can sing this coming week. We've done that before. Have you done that ever? And would you do that with a new song that you've written?
Yeah, so I'm all about introducing songs before I introduce the song. So if I can, I do the same thing I'll put it on a playlist. I'll a handful of times I've done just like a quick iPhone video that I'll put on the church social media. Just, hey guys, we're going to sing a new song in the next couple of weeks. And so I just want to teach you the chorus of it. And I'll just go through the chorus, and then I'll tell them the name of the song. I just did this with Paul and Hannah McClure song, you Rain Above It All. I said, hey guys, this song is called Rain Above It All. I sang it, and I said, hey, go look it up. Rain Above It All, Paul and Hannah McClure. We'll be singing it soon. And then, people came into service knowing the song. Nice. And that's not going to be your whole church, but there are people that are engaged enough and that are looking for new music that'll go, okay, great. And so you can do the same thing with a song that you wrote. Just say, hey, we have a new song we're going to introduce. Here's the chorus of it, and go from there. And then so anytime I can share a song beforehand, or even just, if I hear if somebody's asking me for music recommendations or something, hey, let me send you this one. I'll get your thoughts on that. Just kind of, we're not bound by any sort of rules, right?
Right.
I mean, just put the song out there and try to get it into people's hands.
Yeah. In your ears. That's good. That's good. Because, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that people aren't distracted by whatever's going on, whether it's a new song, and you can't eliminate every distraction, but it shouldn't be our goal to distract. So those are some good good little pieces of wisdom to remember. All right, let's get into some practical tips for writing, because like I said, I'm in the middle of writing a song that I haven't even shared with anyone yet. I'll probably send it to you, not y'all. But something that the guy that I write with, Nate, I don't know if you're watching this, but he said something like, verses should maybe be descriptive, while choruses and maybe the bridge are more, you're involving more, you express. And we started looking at some lyrics of some songs, and I'm like, I've never been to a songwriting course or anything, so I'm brand new to it. Do you have anything like that? Is that true? And do you have any more little tips of wisdom that you can think of as you songwrite, things to think about?
Yeah, I mean, so similar to that one being, descriptive in the verse and more, what was the word you used for the chorus?
I said more involved or interactive.
More involved. Yeah, that makes sense. Similar to that, I mean, you can ask a question in the verse and answer it in the chorus. That's a pretty common thing for me, or not even necessarily ask a question, but allude to something in the verse and answer it in the chorus. If you want to write better melodies, then write a song and take the chorus of it and make that your first verse, because your chorus is going to be hookier, and so it's got a nice melodic hook. All right, now make that your verse, write a new chorus, and then make that one your bridge and write a new chorus. Now you might end up with a lot of like United Pursuit kind of songs, like Set a Fire or something, where it's more like three, right? It's more parts, but that's a great way to just get started and to write kind of anthem sort of songs. And you know what, you can plug this in random places in your service, and that's okay. You can add in just, hey, let's just throw in this little chorus. That's a really kind of fun way to write that way. Yeah,
that's good, because it's funny. Like, I think I've done that unintentionally. Like, I'll write the chorus, and then I'm like, no, that's a verse. Wait, no, that's a bridge. I don't know what I'm writing. Or I'll write a chorus, and I'm like, okay, I need a verse. And I end up just like writing the chorus again. It's just, it can be so hard when you're really trying. I think, some people are really gifted at it, and some of us need to practice, which is, that's another thing, is just practice. We've learned that from last time you were on the channel, or one of the other times, of just doing it. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just to do it. Other things. So, we go from like, sometimes things are really wordy, and then sometimes songs I love are like hardly wordy at all. And the phrases are just so simple, but maybe it's the melody or the simplicity that draws you in. Is there a formula that you use of like wordy choruses and,
I try to balance things. So if I have a really wordy chorus, I don't want a wordy verse. If I have a wordy verse, I want a really simple chorus. That way, you're giving people a break. And listen, not every song does. I mean, you can find hymn after hymn that's wordy, and they're super powerful. It's a rule, but it's not a real rule. I mean, it's a guideline to live by. But that'll help you a little bit. If one's super wordy, make the other super simple.
And then while I'm on here, I get what a verse is. I get what a chorus is. And I get the joke about worship leaders singing the bridge 14 times. But what is a bridge? What's the purpose of a bridge? Why do we even need one?
So a bridge, it's kind of a... It's not so much in worship songs, but if you listen to like old songs from like the 60s and 70s, if you find a bridge, it'll take you in a little bit of a different direction, and it'll have a little bit of a different sound. I was listening to some old what's his name? Tiny Dancer.
Elton John.
Elton John.
Is it Elton John?
Yeah, I was listening to old Elton John songs, and you'll see there's these big musical changes. So it gives you a chance to change things up in the bridge. Now, I don't know if that's the technical reason there's bridges and songs. I'm like you. I don't actually know anything about songwriting. It's just stuff I've gathered, you know. But that's, you know, it gives you a chance to do something different musically, to add on, you know, another powerful point, to kind of emphasize the chorus, the point of your song again.
Yeah. And then there's the dreaded, I say dreaded because I feel like I don't like them as like the pre-chorus. Oh no, it's a whole nother section.
Yes. Yes. I think a lot of people that I've written with will try to avoid a pre-chorus, because it is just another section, another line. And if you can, and I think you're probably a better writer if you can say it in a verse without having to have a pre-chorus or having to have that kind of extra on-ramp to the chorus. That's probably better writing technically. That said, if you're listening to this and you're like, I wrote a song last night as a pre-chorus, dude, that's okay.
Yeah.
Do it.
There's some great songs with pre-choruses. Yeah.
There's great songs out there with pre-choruses. You know, but that's the way I look at it. It's just an on-ramp to the chorus to kind of connect them a little bit more.
All right, I have some more, Coach.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, while we're in this little break, throw a commercial. Where you have resources on this topic, I believe. No, I know you do because I have them. But share where we can get them and what they are.
Yeah, so I wrote a book coming up on 2 years ago now called House Music, Prompts for the Worship Songwriter. And what it is, it's 100 and some odd prompts for songwriting and songs specifically for worship leaders. So things that come out of Scripture, things that you'd be talking about in your church, just to help you get moving as a songwriter. It's actually how I initially started doing it for myself, to come up with just a bunch of ideas. And then I just said, hey, I'm sure other people need ideas. And so I'm putting together in this book. But you can find that at worshipleader.me or just search House Music and my name, Caleb Holgerson, on Amazon. You can find it there.
Awesome. Yeah. Grab that book. It's a really good resource. Sorry, I'm still coughing. My voice is on its way back. But I wanted to talk to you about wording. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, we're singing songs. This is, again, a principle, I'm sure, but singing songs or writing songs that are in language that we would speak, or a lot of times I'll hear songs from other ministries and like, oh, listen to the song we wrote. And it's full of like metaphors that seem to be just like, whoa, where'd that come from? And what's that about? You know, and I need so much explanation in the song. But there is a way to write poetically that has some depth to it. But then there's also something very appealing about singing something that I would say, you know, like being able to sing it in my car and not sound so weird, if that makes sense. So do you try to balance that within the same song, or do you think of different songs? Like this is a more poetic, metaphor driven song. This is a practical, I just want to say this to myself and preach to myself type song. Do you have any insights on that? So
when I think a lot of times newer writers will try to be really heavy in metaphors because it sounds deep and it sounds cool. And metaphors are great songwriting tools. Don't misunderstand me. And if but yeah, I think, you know, if you're going to sing a song that's really congregational, you probably want it to be less heavy on the metaphor side. You want it to be more straightforward and something that you would sing. And the reason is it's going to be easier to sing. It's going to be easier for people to think about. And they don't have to, because it can be another distraction, really, to go, what's that mean? And they're thinking about the metaphor, not thinking about Jesus. And so if you're writing a song for yourself or just between you and God, man, work on your metaphors then. But if you're writing a song intentionally for the church, I'd say pull back on the metaphors. It doesn't mean they can't be there. Just be cautious about how you're using them. And if your whole song is a metaphor, that's going to be hard to follow along.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one of those things I'm thinking about right now. Like, okay, I want this, the song I'm writing, I'm trying to make it very conversational, if that's the right word, or very just like, I would say this. And sometimes to get things to rhyme, and there's some songs I love where it's like you say a sentence weirdly. It
Yeah.
still means the same thing, but you're trying to get there. I'm trying to balance, because obviously there's some songs that do that are very popular. But then there's some songs, like right now, a song I'm really drawn to is I Speak Jesus, real popular song, I think, right now. And it's just like, it's so just straightforward, like Jesus in the mountains, Jesus in the street, Jesus over my family and every whatever. I don't even memorize the lyrics yet, but it's just like.
Is that Here Be Lions?
I think they're the ones who wrote it first. I heard it at a conference, the SALT conference. And it was it was awesome. And then and then Charity Gale, I think is her name. I think it's Charity.
Okay. Yeah.
She sings the one, and that's on our new songs playlist, because we're going to be introducing it soon. And I just love that song, and it's just like, wow, I speak Jesus.
Right. And, well, in that, you know, I think Here Be Lions did initially put that out, and so Dustin Smith is was the starter of that. He's a songwriter originally from Kansas City, and now he started a church outside of Nashville. And I know that because I've been to his church. I've got to hang out with him a little bit. And he's a guy that is going to be singing his prayers. And so I would bet, I don't know this, so you might go find a story behind the song thing and go, Caleb, you're so wrong. That's okay. But my point's going to be the same. Sing your prayers. Okay, how would you say it to God? You know, and if you're a friend of God, you know, you're probably going to speak pretty normally to him, hopefully with some reverence. But besides that, you're not going to speak in weird ways to him. So why would you sing your praises in weird ways?
Wow.
You know, if you and I are talking and I start using a bunch of poetic language, you're going to start looking at me really funny, you know.
Stop doing that. Why are you doing that?
Right. You know, this isn't the guy I started the conversation with. He changed, you know. So I think that's something to think about. You know, how are you? You know, remember that you're speaking to Jesus. So how would you speak to Jesus?
Yeah, man, that's great. I think that's a fantastic piece of advice. I think it's probably a good place to land too. I don't have much more. I think that's a lot for someone who's listening to go and chew on that and go write some songs. Like, just do it. Go write some songs. Pick up the book, House Music by Caleb Holgerson. I have it. It's been a huge help. You also have another book that's good for worship leaders called Becoming a Worship Pastor.
Yes, sir.
I would definitely say pick that up as well. They're books. They're not that expensive. Go get it. You need it. Also, can they follow you on social media anywhere? Are you posting regularly?
Yeah, find me at Worship Leader Coaching. I'm not posting as much as I used to. At one point, I was like constant, and then I thought, all right, I need to take a break from social media, but I am still on there, still connecting with worship leaders regularly on there. I'd love to chat songwriting or worship leading or anything else with you. Hit me up anytime.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on the channel. I know I benefited from it today, and I know they will too. If y'all did, like it, subscribe, go follow him, and we'll see you in the next video.